everyone, and welcome to another Virtual TrekCon 6 panel. Today, I am joined by Leslie Hoffman. Now, if you're not familiar with Leslie, Leslie is a stunt woman who had a very long and very successful career, and which included being a stunt woman on Star Trek Deep Space Nine and Star Trek Voyager. Leslie, how are you today?
I'm fine. How are you doing, Matt?
It is always fun to be able to do something with Virtual TrekCon and for the chance to talk to you. So, well, let's jump right into it. I guess the first question that I have for you is what at what point in your life did you decide I want to be a stunt person?
That's an interesting question because I would say since the age of like 4 years old, I knew I was going to be in the entertainment business. Never in my life did I ever want to be a fireman, a veterinarian, a doctor. I always wanted to be an actress. But that's what I was calling it, was an actress or, not an entertainer, not a performer. When I got into my early teens, I actually had a summer at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and they almost changed my mind. It was so boring. It was like, walk over here, say your line. Walk over there, say your line. I was so disappointed that this is what acting was. Then we were visiting my older brother who had graduated high school, was now at Caltech in Pasadena, California. And while we were visiting him there, we went to the Universal studio tour. And part of the studio tour was the Western Stunt Show. And all of a sudden, this guy comes out on the mic and starts talking to the crowd. And he has a whip. And, anyways, they get into fights and they're shooting guns and they're rolling off the building and they're doing high falls. And it's like the light bulb went on. And I said, that's that's what I want to become. I want to become a stunt woman. I want to act and I want to be able to do the physical things. So really the answer to your question of when did I decide to become a stunt woman wasn't until uh basically between my 11th grade and 12th grade year in high school. But as a performer, it was age 4, probably since age 4.
Oh wow. Wow. So so that this the stunt shows at Universal are always a lot of fun. Uh
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, it was interesting because at that time, uh, women were not allowed to be in the stunt show. I mean, women in general have had this problem in the area of stunts in movies and televisions, but hopefully things are changing.
yeah.
Uh, Dennis Madelone, the stunt coordinator of Next Generation Deep Space Nine Voyager, he was not hired for Enterprise. Uh, we all went to this stunt gym together. When I came out to California from upstate New York or northern New York, he actually came out from New Jersey. A lot of us are just transplants out to Los Angeles. And so several of us knew each other from this stunt gym in the early 70s. And when Dennis became stunt coordinator for Star Trek, he knew the quality, the expertise. I don't know what you really want to call it, but he knew what certain people were capable of doing. And he didn't belong to a stunt group. He was an independent stuntman. So he was allowed, or he could hire anybody he felt like hiring. He wasn't under the thumb of a stunt group, uh, that you must hire our people first. And like I
Okay.
say, he knew us all from the gym, like Tom Morga, and who's been probably every alien in Star Trek except for a Ferengi, because Tom is like 6'2",
Yeah, Tom is
and
a
he'd be the world's tallest Ferengi.
he is yeah, I was gonna say he's not quite the height that they're looking for on in a
Right. Unless
Ferengi.
unless he played it on his knees, I
Right.
don't think Tom could have been a Ferengi.
Well, now you've done both Deep Space Nine and Voyager. Do you have a stunt that you did during your time on Star Trek that you would consider the most fun or your favorite stunt?
Uh, Actually, I consider, um well, it's somewhere between an accident and an oops is all I can say. Is It was called, the episode is Blood Fever, where Torres is touched by Vorak the Vulcan, and she gets Pon farr. So I'm the only Klingon, or half human, half Klingon, that has experienced Pon farr, or as far as I know. Anyways, there was a scene where I was supposed to be rappelling down a cliff, and we did it a couple times, and the director said, could you move over, about 3 feet, and come down the cliff from that area instead of the area you've been coming down from? So I moved over 3 feet, and I started going off the cliff, and my foot went into, I'll call it an indent in the cliff. Obviously they don't make a cliff smooth.
Right, right.
So when my foot went into this indent, my leg kind of collapsed, and I I guess I ended up in a sitting position. Now I know how to rappel, so I have the brakes on. I'm holding the rope correctly. I have the brakes on. I'm not going anywhere. But when I fell, or sat down, the rope went across the arch of the other foot on the top of the cliff. So my one foot is on the top of the cliff with the rope across it, and I'm upside down holding on to the rope, and I can hear everyone screaming, "Get her down! Get her down! Ah!" Everyone's panicking. I'm just upside down and very embarrassed that this has happened to me. Um, Finally, this grip looks over the edge of the cliff to see what everyone is yelling about, and I say to him, "Could you could you pick up the rope and give me my foot back?" And the thing is my body weight, is on the rope. So it isn't like you just pick up a rope and get me free. I mean, this guy had to really stand up and pull up on the rope to allow me enough slack to get my foot out from underneath the rope. Anyways, I get my foot out from underneath the rope, and I get back into the standing position, and Dennis is saying, "Come on down, come down." I'm going, "No, no, I'm fine. Leave me alone, or not leave me alone, but I'm fine. Let's just go ahead and shoot the stunt." Now I'm in a position ready to go.
Right.
And we filmed the stunt with no problem, and everything was fine. I wasn't hurt. I mean, I was extremely embarrassed, but I wasn't hurt. Uh, the only silly thing that I'll say about the whole thing with that stunt is, uh, it's Neelix's rope that supposedly the pick of the rope breaks loose from the rock and he falls. And for some reason, Torres reaches out, this is in the script, reaches out with both hands to try to catch Neelix. Well, what's going to happen when you let go of the rope with both hands to catch someone who's falling? Well, I fall too.
Yeah.
And that was done. Was Neelix and Torres falls off of the cliff.
Oh.
But but it was really wonderful. And if you watch that part of the episode, there are scenes, well, obviously, they don't put the actors in danger, but there
Right.
there are scenes where there's close-ups on Roxanne talking as she's passing Torres, Bobby, or Robbie. I get mixed up. There were three Roberts, and it was like Robbie, Bobby, and Rob, or something like that. And somehow you knew which one you were talking about. Anyways, we successfully did the stunt. There's actually an end to this story though. Is the next day, well, the director was so friendly and was very nice about the whole thing, and we got the shot done and all that. And I'm talking to Tom the next day, and he says something like, "Yes, Garrick is very nice." I did not know that that director was Andrew Robertson.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I never, I never saw him out of the Garrick makeup before. So I didn't recognize him as a human being.
Now, okay, speaking of recognizing somebody, uh, whether they had makeup on or makeup off, you told me an experience that you had with a particular Klingon that you didn't recognize one day.
That's right. On Deep Space Nine, um, I walked onto the set and this Klingon says, "Hello, Leslie." And I turn around and it's a Klingon. Now, usually I'm able to look through makeup and see which stunt person I'm talking to. But I couldn't recognize this was not someone that I recognized. Well, it turned out that it was Avery Brooks. Avery Brooks was saying hello, Leslie, to me. That was so fun. Well, I'm sure he was probably doing that to a lot of people, but I did not recognize him as a Klingon.
Oh, how funny. Um, now, one stunt that you did was you fell down the stairs when the Dominion shows up while Garrick and Kira and Damar are down in the basement, and you fell down some stairs. How,
Yes.
how do you remember doing that? And what I've always wondered, falling down, it looks so painful, but like, is there a way to fall down the stairs and so that it I can't imagine there's not a way to do it so it doesn't hurt at least a little bit, but that you can minimize the pain as your arms and your legs flail down the stairs.
Well, I would say number one, if you were wearing a costume that would allow you to pad yourself some more, you would do that. But I was stunt doubling Mila, and the top part of her dress was neoprene. So in a way, I was already padded on the top part of my body. The bottom was a long skirt, floor length. So I probably had some knee pads on. Now, the other thing was originally they wanted this staircase to be, I don't know, wood, metal, something uh not padded. Yet yet I guess there was a banister or something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
And there's always a production meeting before they film an episode. Besides a script reading for the actors, there's a production meeting for the different departments. And Dennis at the production meeting must have made it very clear she is not going to fall down an unpadded staircase and with this banister. And he made them put extra padding down and a carpet down. And um, instead of I don't know what you call the different sections of a banister, but instead of a post on every single step, there was probably a post every fourth step, so
Mm.
there was a space there, uh, which would hopefully minimize the chance of me hitting it with my head. And also, if you watch the episode, Mila was already dead. So it wasn't like I could suddenly wake up and change my position as I'm rolling down the steps. I'm dead. I'm just this body going down the staircase. Uh, it was only filmed once. And no, I didn't hit my head. Dennis did a great job. I didn't hit my head. The padding between the neoprene of the costume and on my legs and the padding of the staircase. No, well, I hate to say, I should say, no, it was a really dangerous stunt. No, it actually was very, very simple stair fall. Uh, the only difference about, again, I have a second part to the story. The
Okay.
only thing about this stunt is she's a dead body. And this little ball falls down. They send this ball down after she's down on the floor, lying there dead. And there's an explosion, and this little piece of burning ember, or I don't know what you want to call it, it, it didn't hit my hand, but it came close enough to my hand that I could feel the heat off of it. I mean, it was, in a way, it was burning me. I mean, it didn't burn my skin. I looked at my skin afterwards, and there was no burn, but boy, it was hot.
Oh, I can
I had to lay there dead until they yelled cut, please yell cut.
Oh man, yeah, you're just praying. Please, you'll cut. Please, you'll cut. Because if you had moved, they probably would have had to reset and do it again.
Right, right. I would think that they wouldn't want the stair fall, but they wouldn't be thrilled that that's all of a sudden the dead body moved.
I'm not dead yet. I survived.
It's a miracle.
Exactly. Okay, so you and I have talked a little bit about the Deep Space Nine promenade in
Oh,
the
I love
past.
the promenade.
Yeah, can you share some of your experiences, either while filming or maybe after filming was done and everybody else was going home?
It wasn't even going home. Is that uh, as with most shows, you get into makeup and costume and it's hurry up and wait. You know, you get a 5 a.m. call and you're lucky if they do the stunt at 6 o'clock at night. So during the day, I might go to the promenade and with other people, and we'd go down the first floor. We run up to the second floor, run along the second floor, and I mean it just how do I say like it was your own little playhouse. Not now you knew better than to touch things or move things
Right.
around, but it just was amazing that that this was a realistic two-story set. And it just was so much fun to walk across the different floors. Now, as opposed to while filming, two things happened to me. I was in Rocks and Shoals where I doubled Vedic Yasam and uh, well, one thing before they put me in the harness to have me jump off the second floor of the promenade, I wanted to go to the bathroom. And, and I say to Lillian, who did play Vedic Yasam, you know, don't I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick and then I'll be back and I'll put the harness on. Lillian yells to the whole cast and crew, Leslie Hoffman's going to the bathroom. Or, she's
Right now on the floor?
yeah, right. She's not on the set right now. She's in the bathroom, but she'll be back and she'll put on the harness.
Oh
It's
no.
like
Ah,
didn't have to announce that to everyone where I was going. Anyways, okay, so now we're ready to do the stunt. And they did the stunt, me jumping off the Vedic Yasam committed suicide um in I can't think of the right word. Um uh-oh. Uh, to protest. Here,
right,
that's
yes, it was
the
a
word.
protest. Yeah.
Protest. The protests that the Cardassians were taking over the station again. She committed suicide. And she goes, "Evil must be opposed," and then she jumps off the second story. Um, Anyways, it was filmed in slow motion, and usually you film 24 seconds a frame per second. Um, when they're using a slow motion camera, you can hear it whirl. It's a different sound that you hear. And of course, you have to wait till the director yells action. Uh, anyway, so I'm listening and I hear this camera going, and reaching the full potential. And the director yells, action. And I step off of the balcony and I hear, mm, silence. The camera jammed,
Oh,
and it isn't like you're a cartoon character. It's not like you step back on the cliff or something, or you step back on the second floor of the promenade. I mean, one once you step off the promenade, you're heading down no matter what.
right.
So we actually, I don't know. I feel like we actually filmed it 3 times, and I don't know why there was that other time, but we got the shot that they wanted. And it was an unusual shot because usually when a stunt person does a high fall, they land on their back. But in this case, since she was hanging herself, she wouldn't be landing on her back. She would, she's going for feet first. So the way they build a stunt pad for that kind of a stunt is you have the pad that the best I can describe it is it's something like Paul Walters would jump into. It's a solid, a harder pad. I mean, it's still a pad, but a pad. But then what they do is they put boxes. They take empty boxes, um, they assemble them, and so when you jump, your legs go through the boxes and you sort of are stopped on top of the boxes as opposed to hitting the pad and having your knees come up and hit you in the face or something like that.
Oh
But
wow. Now,
um,
did they have you on a when you jumped, were you on a decelerator or was that just straight you just
no, I'm, I actually, this is silly now that, of course, we're talking years later now. I don't know why I was wearing a harness because the harness really wasn't being used, but for some reason they did put me in a harness. Uh, no, the jump was me jumping and they didn't slow me down. Or when I say they didn't slow me down, the camera slowed me down.
right, right. So,
Or
okay.
another funny thing is the hat that she was wearing is that the director said, "Now, is that hat going to fall off of your head because we need a shot of that hat hitting the floor." And I kind of, I don't know, in my mind I just figured that coming to, stopping uh hitting the pad would just make the hat pop off of my head. Believe it or not, that hat was so heavy. If anything, it came even further down on my head. They had to do a separate shot of a prop man dropping the hat
Oh,
to the floor.
now in there's the shot where we see the feet dangling. Are those your feet that we see dangling there?
Yeah, the those are my feet.
Those are your feet. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying is that uh oh, okay. That explains the harness. So in that case, yes, I am hanging on the harness,
Okay.
and they are, like I say, and then this prop man drops the hat next
Drop.
to my feet.
Okay.
See, we you just figured out a mystery that I couldn't figure out that I couldn't figure out, or at least I couldn't remember why.
Well, it may have been a few years since you shot that. So now, okay. I also, so for those who don't know, when I first came out to Los Angeles, Leslie was kind enough to take me around and see some of LA the first time I came out. And then when I came out to work, she let me rent a room in her home and so we had opportunity to talk Star Trek and other things. Now, I remember that you had this coonskin hat. And I don't know if you still have it, but that coonskin hat has a little Deep Space Nine history to it.
Yes, I was one of Dennis Matalone had several people be assistant stunt coordinators for him. because not only was he filming Deep Space Nine, he was filming Voyager, he was going to production meetings. There was a second unit, which means that they viewed the episode that they already filmed and they realize that there's a scene missing, or they need to connect the scenes better together with an extra piece of film. Uh, anyways, he could not make it to the production meeting, so he sent me to the production meeting. And I went there, and um, I sat between the prop department and the costume department. That was where the stunt seat was. We the seats were assigned to the different departments. Uh, so I was the last. They were the prop man and the wardrobe lady was already there, and I came in, and I'm coming into a conversation where they're arguing the point that it's a prop. No, it's not a prop. Yes, it is a prop because they're not wearing it. And I finally say, "What are you talking about?" And they said, "Well, in the script, there's this coonskin cap that uh uh I think the O'Brien and Dr. Bashir are talking about." And I guess they talked to Great Western, which was like the costume department to rent costumes, and they didn't have a coonskin cap. Well, being from northern New York, we have raccoons running all over the place. Well, and there happened to be this store that I'll at least I, I'm sorry. They would take roadkill raccoons and they would turn the raccoons into coonskin caps. And I found it so unique that I actually had bought a coonskin cap. So I had the real thing. I didn't have fake fur, whatever. I mean, this really was a raccoon, or a raccoon that became a
That
coonskin
had
cap.
had met an unfortunate end on the road. Oh, poor thing.
Anyways, once I realized that they were talking about a coonskin cap, I told them, "Well, I have a coonskin cap," and they said, "Well, we can't pay you for it. We're not allowed to do that. But can we borrow the coonskin cap?" I said, "Sure, sure, sure, you can." Oh, I just realized something. It was James Darren was one of the people that they were talking to. Um, anyways, I let them borrow the coonskin cap, and I'll tell you, I'm actually a very shy person. Believe it or not, I'm a very shy person. I I almost wish, this isn't almost wish. I wish that I would have been a little braver and asked the actors to sign the inside of the coonskin cap, but I was too shy or embarrassed or whatever. I don't want to, well, I guess the easiest way to say it is I view that we're all members of the Screen Actors Guild and we're there working that day.
Yeah,
And for me to ask them to sign the cap, uh, nothing wrong with fans, but for me to ask them to sign the cap, I just felt that I would have been overstepping
right.
uh my position. You know, "Oh, that's my coonskin cap. Could you sign it, please?"
No,
You
I
know.
definitely understand that because, when I first came out and was working at Universal, that was one of the things that they kind of reminded us about, don't ask for things, don't ask for autographs, don't approach the talent because we're all working here, right? Unless you have a reason to be, then, let them be about their business. So I can certainly understand like the fan in you is going, "Oh, wouldn't this be really neat?" But then the professional says it's enough to know that it was used, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. I mean, actually, if you go to Memory Alpha, uh, believe it or not, the coonskin cap has its own web page, or you if you were to look through Memory Alpha,
That's
the
amazing.
coonskin cap actually has its own page.
The
Um,
legacy of the hat lives on.
right. The other thing was I actually did well, I hardly call it a stunt, but I actually was in the casino. The name of the episode was Bada Bing Bada Bang, where there I don't know if he was supposedly mafia or where the one guy took over Vic's lounge or
Right,
something like
yep.
that, and Cisco threw money up in the air, and everyone's grabbing at the money, and I was hired that day. Well, not again, I was the assistant stunt coordinator, but I happened to be one of the stunt people. So um there's like a split second where you see me grabbing the money and stuffing it either into my dress or my purse. I forget where, but the coonskin cap got more airtime than I did. I think what, like you say, I also was the stunt coordinator on the set that day. And I'm in this 1950s dress with these high heels. I mean, and the poofed out hair and everything like that. Uh, the way they made the money float down to the ground was there was a crew member or special effects guy on an A-frame ladder holding whatever you call that huge spatula that like what you would use for pizza. They put the
Okay.
money on that, and he was on the A-frame ladder and he was shaking the spatula and making the money float to the ground. Well, they were changing scenes and they're moving the camera, which was on a crane. And the crane is being slowly backed into the ladder, and the ladder is starting to tip to fall. And I went running up. I saw it. I saw it happening. And all the guy could do was hold on to the ladder and hope that he wasn't going to get hurt too badly. But I saw what was going on, and I go running up there, and I just lean into the ladder. You know, I grabbed the A-frame ladder on both sides, and just leaned into the ladder, trying to keep it straight. You know that it would not fall. And luckily, other people saw what I was doing and they pulled the camera back, and other people were started grabbing the ladder. But uh, if I hadn't grabbed the ladder in that first second, it would have tipped. It would He would have fallen to the ground, and we're not talking about a 6 foot ladder. I mean, this
Oh,
was like
wow.
a 10 or 12 foot ladder. I mean, it was a tall ladder. He would have had a pretty long fall.
You
Uh,
would have had a pretty bad day.
yeah, yeah, he would not have been happy. The funniest thing was the next day, I'm walking down the street with Tom and Gary Monak and RJ, which was the person who was on the ladder, come up in their little golf cart. And RJ turns to Gary and he goes, "She's my hero." I, the one thing I think about with stunt people is we seem to be a hybrid of crew and cast. So I feel like I was very close to the crew as much as I was close to the cast.
I was going to ask you, being there on the set, did you have opportunity to interact with the cast? And this might be a loaded question. Was there someone who was your favorite to hang out with on set?
I don't think necess- I enjoyed being near everyone, whether cast or crew. Uh, I'm I'm sorry he's gone now, but Aaron was just so wonderful. If we were in between shots, a group of us would just all pack into Aaron's. He was put in a teardrop trailer. He didn't have a large trailer, and we would just pack into his trailer and see, I don't know what people possibly think that we talk about. I mean, we're not going to talk about the script. We're not going to talk about how the day is going. We're going to talk about anything we feel like is going on. And we just would be in his room discussing whatever we felt like discussing. Um, I the one thing that I remember was one day Mark Alamo asked me if I would read with him, which absolutely shocked me. I mean, number one, that Mark Alamo is talking to me, again, because I'm not going to start a conversation with somebody. So when somebody of what should I call it? Part of the main crew is talking to you. You feel honored. I mean, it's amazing. Anyways, he says to me, I mean, he knows. Well, actually, I was gonna stunt double. Now that one was um, oh come on,
Covenant, wasn't it?
what?
Covenant?
Yeah, right. I couldn't think of the word. I knew what the word meant, but I couldn't think of the word. Right, covenant. It was so he was trying to memorize his speech on convincing everyone that the Pa Wraith and being a part of this group of Cardassians and Bajorans, or that Bajorans should be believing in Pa Wraith instead of the prophets and whatever. And I mean, it's a magnificent speech that he's giving. I mean, uh well, I was going to compare it to other, I'll call it televangelists, but I'm not going to do that. It was just such a powerful speech that he was giving that, believe me, I would have followed him anywhere.
You
I,
ran and jumped in his arms and said, I'm sold.
yeah, yeah, I believe you. I'm ready to go with you. Where do you want me to go?
Now, that is another interesting stunt that you did was you were technically getting sucked out the airlock, weren't you?
Yeah, that was again, a funny thing is I would say more of the crew were Trekkies than the cast being Trekkies. Or how should I put it, that we understand how space works. Um, so if you're going to open up an airlock, whatever's inside that airlock is going to get sucked out into space. I mean, they had me wearing a scarf and they had the scarf pull off my neck. They had a string or something attached to it and they had the scarf fly out the airlock. But in reality, if you open a space up to the vacuum of space, kind of double wording myself there, but if you're opening something to the vacuum of space, my body should have been just crushed right through that little slit in the doorway. And I happened to mention it to the first AD, not that I was after an answer or anything, but I did mention it. And he goes, "Shut up." No, he didn't mean it. He didn't mean it mean. I'll tell you what he means or what it meant. It meant that's because that's the way the script has been written.
Right.
But yeah, shouldn't my body have gone out? Shut up.
It's not what the script says. So, okay, well, we only have just a little bit longer, but I'm just curious. We've had Dennis has been on to review some next generation episodes that he worked on. And I'm just curious, what was it or what was your experience like working with Dennis?
Well, Dennis, Tom, and I go all the way back to the stunt gym in the late 70s. Uh, Dennis is probably the safest stunt coordinator that I've ever worked for. Um, he he just uh I love Dennis. I mean, what can I say? Uh people might find him, I'll say, unique, but I know Dennis, and like I say, I love him. It's just a lot of fun working with him. Or there were times he had the way you got around Paramount back then. Uh, if you weren't at the level of a golf cart, you were at the level of a bicycle. I mean, below that, you walked. So Dennis's favorite color is purple, and he had a purple bicycle, which he called the Danger Mobile. I mean, there's actually there to me, there's nothing dangerous about Dennis because like you say, I consider him one of the safest stunt coordinators that I've ever worked for. Uh, but I remember he asked me to deliver something to the Roddenberry building and to take the Danger Mobile. And it was when I was dressed up as Mila. So I'm in this really long dress. And I don't know how I managed it, but I bicycled across Paramount from like stage 18 over to the Roddenberry building on the Danger Mobile dressed up as Mila. Oh,
Oh,
and that the other thing, I mean, I'm sure people, I would imagine, knows that Mila is a Cardassian. So not only am I in this costume, I'm a Cardassian. I have a gray face on with that
the
spoon.
rigid, yeah.
So here's this alien bicycling across Paramount.
Oh, well, I would say the one thing, Dennis. I'm so jealous because he still has that fantastic hair. And
He still does. Dennis, it's really funny. When he first came out from New Jersey, his hair was not that long, but somewhere in his career he decided that he was going to have long hair, and he has long hair. And as you know, because we talked for my birthday in January, I came out to Los Angeles to celebrate my birthday with family and friends. uh, I decided that was my gift to me. So I actually saw Dennis in the middle of January. He still has long hair. Um, yeah. No, he had. Well, I'm not sure what to say other than he has magnificent long hair.
ah,
Actually, my younger brother has hair almost as long as mine. It They're just some guys that love long hair.
I'm just jealous that that he's able to maintain it, and it looks so what do you call it, the luscious locks that
Yeah. Well, it's
oh,
really funny because Tom, Dennis, and I, well, and Dennis's wife Linda, had lunch together, and Tom has a haircut that's more like yours, but Dennis has the extremely long hair like my hair.
uh,
Actually, Linda has a bob cut at the moment too. So so Tom and Linda's hair was that kind of shape, and Dennis and my hair was the long hair.
no. Well, we should probably get going here because I think we're just about out of time. But Leslie, thank you so much for talking with me and sharing some of the experiences that I enjoyed hearing when you and I were living under the same roof there, with everybody here at Virtual Trek Con. For those of you who are watching, make sure to check the links below for the next video. And if you want to check out a full schedule, visit virtualtrekcon.com. And Leslie, before we go, where can people find you online?
Um, well, I'm on Facebook under Leslie Hoffman. I'm also on Instagram with the title is the underscore Leslie underscore Hoffman. So you can find me on Instagram that way also.
Okay, great.
And when people write to me, I always write back. That really is me writing back. It's not a friend, it's not a fake page or anything like that. I really do write back to the fans. And
Yeah,
I'm an original Trekkie. I don't know if we really started off that way, is that I am an original Trekkie. I went to the second uh convention that was held in New York City in 19 either 72 or 73. Uh, so so I'm very proud to be a Trekkie, and I love to talk Star Trek to anybody, especially especially the early series.
I can verify that. I can vouch for that. That is 100% true. So, well, thank you. So, for everybody at home, make sure that you check out the next video. And whether you are into falling downstairs or jumping off the second floor of the promenade, or if your idea of a good stunt is reaching for the chip bowl, be sure to tune in to the next panel on Virtual TrekCon 6.
Uh-huh.